Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time once again. It's your boy Max back with another zany, wacky killer theory idea. And you're not gonna believe me on this one, but just hear me out, okay? So, what if. What if the pet cemetery was a killer in Dead by Daylight? Okay? So, I know that sounds insane. And if you're new to the series, this is just purely for fun. This isn't like speculating any leaks or anything. This is just, I don't know, something I like to do. For something I would like to see in the game, maybe. And I'm also not a game designer. So, if things seem a little whack, balance-wise, then don't complain in the comments. And I'm also a killer main, and I don't particularly care for survivors, so I'm only really going to talk about killers in these videos. So if you have a suggestion for maybe like Lewis Creed or Judd Crandall as survivors, leave it down in the comments below, because I'd love to hear your ideas. Anyway, really quick, if you don't know, Pet Cemetery, spelled incorrectly on purpose, is a novel by Stephen King, of course, the master of horror. Dude, it's one of my favorite books I've ever read. And it's about a family who moves into a new house, and there is a cursed ancient Indian burial ground in the woods behind their house. And anything that gets buried there comes back and is hungry for blood. So as the story goes on, the family cat gets killed by a truck, and the neighbor, Judd, shows Lewis, our main character, the power of the burial ground, and the cat comes back, but he's very different, and he's angry, and he's mean. Ultimately not the biggest threat. However, eventually his 2-year-old son, Gage, is also killed by a truck, and in a moment of despair, he goes and takes Gage's body out of his grave and buries him in the burial ground, hoping to bring him back to life. But of course, he comes back very bad, and he murders Judd and Lewis's wife. Eventually, Lewis ends up killing him with a morphine injection because he's a doctor. But he's already off the deep end, so what he does is then he takes his wife's body and goes and buries it, hoping that maybe this time it'll be right. It ends with her just coming back in the house, just cliffhanger, whatever happens there happens. So yeah, really, really creepy. If you've never read Stephen King, I would recommend it, dude. Pet Sematary is definitely, probably his best book, in my opinion, right up there with The Shining. Anyway, that's the gist of it. I know that there's probably some Zoomers watching was like, what's a book? The TV movie was good, kind of cheesy, and the actual film that came out in like 2019 was rather different. I don't want to spoil anything if you want to watch it. It's okay. It's just quite different. But that's the gist of Pet Sematary. And the whole idea that the burial ground itself, that place, Little God Swamp is what it's called, is cursed and drives people to do insane things, is the theme that I'm going for with this, okay? So what I want to achieve with this is to introduce a completely new gameplay style for Killer, in the fact that the killer itself is the map, okay? Like I said, so we have basically the influence is what the killer is titled in the game. And the only way that you can play the influence is on this new map, Little God Swamp. And the only way that you can play on that map is if you're playing against the influence, because they're so tightly woven together. It wouldn't make any sense for, like, I don't know, Azerovs or something, dude, you know? Like I said, we get a little crazy, we get a little wild with these. Not really expecting anything, but it makes sense to me in my head to have it be interlinked so tightly. So, very important parts of the map. There's the Deadfall, which is like a big pile of logs and trees and twigs and all this old stuff that kind of like blocks off the forbidden part that leads to the burial ground, right? And with this, we could actually bring back an old mechanic, because apparently way back in the day, survivors were supposed to be able to climb on top of the killer shack, and there was like a climb action that you could do. So we could bring the climb action back with the deadfall. And of course, the burial ground itself is going to be part of the map. Very iconic scene, especially from the movie. Paints a really good picture of what it's supposed to look like. The pet cemetery itself, and of course, Lewis's house. We could also probably stick Judd's house in there too, because he's a neighbor. But the majority of the map is going to be in the swamp, in the woods. So the influence, that's what we're calling the killer. The influence of the swamp itself is going to be very different from anything that we've ever seen in the game. The influence is going to be invisible and undetectable and unable to harm the survivors in a direct way. There's going to be no M1 attack at all. You can still kick generators and break pallets and whatnot in the same way that you normally would, just by walking up to it and interacting with it. Since we have no way of hurting survivors directly, the influence is going to have an extreme base speed, and this might be a little too much. I want to give him 6.5 meters per second, which sounds insane. That's actually how fast Wraith moves when he's cloaked with his purple windstorm add-on. So it's already something that's in the game, and I don't know, maybe we can tone it down just a little bit, but since you can't hurt survivors, you have no way of directly stopping them from doing anything. You need to be able to get around and keep control of the map extremely fast. So then you might be wondering, how do you damage survivors actually? Okay, great question. The influence's power is resurrection. Now there's going to be graves that spawn around the map, of course. These huge set pieces for this map, the pet cemetery itself, the burial ground, and there's going to be other ones as well, just to keep it easy and balanced to be able to use your power well enough. So the way that this works is you go to a grave and you interact with it, and there's going to be a random chance to spawn a specific thing, okay? Most of the time, it's going to be an undead cat that comes out. Now, the cat can run around and has a pounce attack like Victor. The cat's claws are really sharp, so they're going to hemorrhage when you hit with this pounce attack. And you can also choose to switch back to the influence by pressing control, but the resurrection timer is still going to be going down while you're in control of the influence. Say, if you want to pick somebody up or go kick a generator, you're still losing that chance to do damage. You're going to need to find another grave once your resurrection timer runs out. So like I said, most of the time it's going to be a cat that comes out of the grave. Sometimes you're going to get lucky and you're going to make a dog come out. The dog is a little bit faster than the cat, and the dog has a bite attack that is going to leave survivors injured and with a deep wound as well. Now keep in mind, you are still on the resurrection timer, so it will be possible for a survivor to maybe outrun with their deep wound and then be able to mend once the dog is gone, you know? So just keeping it balanced, I would say. But yeah, the dog is going to be a little bit more rare than the cat. And I kind of like the idea of what you get being randomized. We also have a couple other options here as well. So even rarer than the dog is going to be a man to bring back. Now, the thing about the man is he's not going to be as fast as the cat or the dog. However, when you switch back to the influence, again, to like pick somebody up or kick a gen, the man is going to autonomously walk around in the same way that Nemesis's zombies do. And just to keep him a little bit different, we're going to make him a little bit faster than the zombies. Like maybe, what is it, the broken ink ribbon that gives the zombies 50% speed? That would probably be his base, because he's only one dude. Now, before we get on to the final and greatest thing that you can bring back, all of these creatures are also going to have sound cue. Not a loud noise notification, but like if you're controlling the influence and you have the cat dormant somewhere, the cat will hiss, letting you know that a survivor's nearby. The dog will bark. The man can grunt or whatever. But the last one, he's gonna giggle. The greatest and rarest thing that you can summon from a grave is Gage, the little boy, Lewis's son, and he's gonna be the most powerful thing that you have. His resurrection will be signified map-wide by the sound of a truck horn, so the survivors know to look out for him. Gage is really small, so it'll be easy for him to hide around little nooks and crannies. And he's also going to have a lunge attack in the same way that Pig's ambush works, because that's actually how he kills Judd. He hides under the bed and he ambushes him by cutting his Achilles tendon, if I remember correctly. So playing into that some more, survivors are also going to be hindered when Gage hits them, making it easier for Gage to end chases. And finally, if you are on Death Hook and Gage triggers Bloodlust while he's chasing you, you're going to be exposed and also immediately moriable. Pair this with one of Jason's perks that I gave him in my Jason Voorhees Theorycrafting video, link in the description below. This sounds insane, but I want Gage to be very strong. This is a very rare chance that he'll come out, maybe like once per match. So you really need to take advantage of that power spike. All right, the perks. I hope I hit everything in my notes. This is a lot. This is an insane idea, and I'm really happy with how this came out, I think. The perks that I've come up with. Obviously, we need to reference the source material. We have Dead is Better. Arguably the most famous quote from the book. You know, Lewis, sometimes dead is better. Fred Gwynn actually played Judd in the movie, and that's hilarious because he was also Herman Munster. Anyway, Dead is Better. For each survivor that is dead, sacrificed, or moried, you gain a stackable action speed bonus. Now, this is basically Freddy's Fire Up, but for killing people. And because it's based on killing survivors instead of them doing gens to give you the speed boost, maybe we could boost this up a little bit, but it is an action speed boost. So it's breaking pallets, breaking walls, kicking generators, picking survivors up and dropping them, and vaulting windows. I think that's everything. Next perk that we have is called Doctor's Orders. Of course, Lewis was a doctor, not to be confused with the doctor that's already in Dead by Daylight. I don't usually do flavor text for the perks because I don't think I'm that clever, but I'm pretty proud of this one. You better rest up if you want to feel better, because survivors who are downed are going to become immobilized for 5, 10, or 15 seconds, depending on the perk tier. I don't know actually how useful that would be. That seems kind of low, but also putting it higher would seem kind of long. I think this is a good perk for the influence, like how Dredge came with Darkness Revealed, even though it doesn't work when he comes out of lockers from teleporting. We'll let it slide. This really feels like it's the influence's perk itself, because you down somebody with one of your summons, and then you have to go find them and pick them up, so that buys you a little bit more time so they don't crawl away and hide. This would actually also be insane for stopping people from crawling into the hatch last second, and maybe even against bully squads, dude, that want to come and body block on the hook. Make it a lot harder for them to crawl away and get some help while you're occupied hooking somebody else. The final perk that I've devised is called Destroy, Create, Destroy. So taking another page out of DBD's book already, like we took Fire Up basically for Dead is Better, we're going to take Oppression and twist it to work with Destroy, Create, Destroy. Every 120, 100, or 80 seconds, depending on the perk tier, if you destroy a dropped pallet, then 2 other pallets are also going to get randomly destroyed on the map. And 3, 2, or only 1 pallet, depending on the perk tier, are going to be randomly rebuilt. And you can also choose to snuff your own hexes. It will destroy that totem, but will relight your hex on a different totem that is still standing. So I know that we just got Disillusion as another palette breaking perk from the Dredge, but honestly, I'm not very happy with it. And this has the same cooldown as Oppression, so it's not going to be every single palette that you kick, but I feel like this is still nice. I almost made the higher tiers be 2, 1, or 0 palettes get rebuilt, but I felt like that was a bit much. Now the second part of this perk allows you to destroy your own hex totems, basically to sacrifice that spot permanently, but to relight it somewhere else. So hopefully you can put it into a better position. Of course, it's random, but maybe it's somewhere that the survivors don't know that there's bones yet. This obviously wouldn't work with Undying, one, because you can't tell which hex is on which totem, but I feel like this could be a good alternative to Undying, maybe. Give you a little bit more control. So anyway, that's it. That's my theory idea for if they made a Pet Sematary chapter. I'm pretty happy with how this came out. I really like doing this insane stuff. Stuff that we haven't seen in the game before. Like, why, you know what I mean? Why would the map itself be a killer? That's insane, but that's what I'm here for, man. Fun fact, for those of you who were around till the end, I was actually going to originally take this idea, and I was gonna make the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt be the killer. Except there was way too much material to pull from. It was going to be the exact same idea where like the Crypt Keeper would be an outside force and you would summon stuff from the episodes out of these books that are around the map. But there was way too much stuff to be able to pick from. There's so much episodes of Tales from the Crypt. So I think this is a suitable replacement. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys like the theory crafting videos, I've got 4 other ones. We've got Springtrap, Jason Voorhees, and Frankenstein's Monster, if you can believe that. We're adding another one into the books, another zany, wacky killer idea, dude. I really like making these videos. Like I said, we're not going to get into Survivor stuff, but if you have an idea for like Lewis or Judd as a survivor and what perks they would have, let me know down in the comments below and leave your suggestions for another killer that you want to see me theorize, I guess. I don't know, man. Upload DVD every day, so subscribe if you want to see that. And I stream every single day. Twitch.tv/MaxBakerTV. I start every day around 7 p.m. Eastern. So be there. Come hang out. It's a good time. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.